is the city of Tshwane experiencing a financial crisis? The audit outcomes of metros have steadily worsened in the last year. According to the Auditor General's report, Tshwane received a qualified audit, the worst for any city of that size. Now, let's explain and verify with Samgele Maseko.
Well, Bongiwe, the city of Tshwane has been sinking deeper into debt over the past several administrations. As the reports of the Auditor General suggest, the city is plagued by mismanagement, maladministration of public funds. There are claims that the city of Tshwane is currently insolvent with a liquidity ratio of 0.6 when it is supposed to have at least a liquidity ratio above 1. Let's look at what the Auditor General has to say about this city of Tshwane, plagued by political instability. Bongiwe, there's been no mayor that's finished a term of office since the departure of Dr. Josienso Ramokgopa. You remember Cleared Africa with Solim Simanga. You'd all remember Randall Williams. You'd remember the late former mayor who came from the Congress of the People. He's no more. And you've got now Silas Brink removed from power. But let's look at what the Auditor General says in the findings on the city of Tshwane. More than 200 days to pay creditors should be less than 30 days. They take more than 200 days to pay their creditors. 78% of the municipal debt cannot be recovered. 78% of the municipal debt cannot be recovered. 44 days on average to collect debt. That is the city of Tshwane. Financial mismanagement and poor service delivery. You look at Hammanskraal. You look at the water treatment plant within that era that was that particular contract awarded to Edwin Sodi, the leader of Blackhead Consulting that is currently in court. That Hammanskraal Rooiwal water purification plant not yet finished. Bongiwe. Let's look at this next particular slide that speaks to the issues pertaining to the city. Audit outcomes for the city of Tshwane over the past 5 years. This is over the past 5 years of the city of Tshwane in the government of the Democratic Alliance-led coalition. So this is cumulative over a 5-year period. Unauthorized expenditure goes to about 12.8 billion for the past 5 years of the DA-led coalition in the city of Tshwane. 12.8 billion rands in unauthorized expenditure. Fruitless and wasteful expenditure amounts to 5.48 billion rands in the city of Tshwane. Irregular expenditure is 43.6 billion rands in this capital city of ours. This is an AG report 2019 to 2023. Bongiwe.
So, Samgele, a lot is going on there. Lots of questions do arise from just these two slides alone. But have the authorities of the city explained how is it that we are, as the municipalities in this particular situation, but also importantly struggling to handle public finances?
Well, Bongiwe, if you look at what the municipalities has to say, municipalities within clean audits, particularly those that have sustained this status, overall, several years are generally criticized by sound financial and performance mismanagement discipline and perform their functions in accordance with applicable legislation. This is not the case with the city of Tshwane. But today we have a local government manager at Outer, Julius Kleinhans, who will further elaborate on this particular issue. A very good evening to you, sir. Can you just practically explain to us this financial mismanagement that is there within the capital city of Tshwane?
It's significant, and it doesn't happen overnight. Unfortunately, this is the systemic issue we see in most of our municipalities throughout the whole country. I think one thing that we need to highlight is that a municipality does not have an ideology. It's got a clear mandate to provide basic services to the people. Yet we see all the political parties having power plays consistently, all these coalition governments, and no consistency. And I just want to highlight this fact, because if you professionalize local government, because the administration, the very people who are employed to do the work, they need to be equipped to do that. Unfortunately, the political parties, as they change, there's a clear influence of power, because everything comes to a standstill, and whatever mayor comes in just dictates where the budget should flow. So, and just on this point of administration and political influence, your political council is basically based out of political party candidates, councillors, and they have oversight on the performance of a municipality, and they also vote on the budget. Now, this is a real issue because how many of our councillors actually understand how to analyze a financial statement and have the right financial acumen to make informed decision to empower the administration to do their job. So there's a significant problem that we're facing through all our municipalities.
When you look at a Democratic Alliance, for instance, they pride themselves on good governance. You look at how they supposedly could govern the Western Cape beautifully. You look at the city of Cape Town, which they pride themselves on. But you've got a Tshwane, where they've been in government post the 2016 local government elections, and it's just proved to be a poisoned chalice, not only for the Democratic Alliance, but for any other political formation. But look at the financial mismanagement under the DA rule. What does that say when the DA also prides itself on deploying or sending people who are equipped academically and skills-wise into these various metro municipalities?
Look, I don't have enough insight into the dynamics within the DA and any political party in the city of Tshwane. It's clear that they're doing something right in the municipalities where they don't have a coalition necessarily. I think when it comes to coalition politics, it's really difficult because one always wonders, what are these agreements they come to the fore with? They never expose it. They never transparent about, listen, we've come into a coalition of this party or that party, and this is the agreement, and that's how they benefit. So I think that's something that needs to be considered. Also, the deployment of wherever political party comes into place, obviously there are staff members that are quite aligned with the political influences. And this is a big challenge because you don't just walk into a municipality and clean up shop with the administration, because you do have very good, competent administrative officials, but you also have very weak and incompetent ones. But the problem is, to clean up shop, you face labor relations and unions, and I don't think it's necessarily that easy. I'm not saying that is the case necessarily for everything to blame. And I don't think that any political party has the ability to necessarily just turn around some of these big municipalities and make things work. But I do know that fixing our big metros, whether City of Johannesburg or Tshwane, is not going to take a decade. It might even take 2 decades to get it right.
When you look at the City of Tshwane, they owe Eskom billions of rands. You look at how the power utility is taking them to court, hopefully looking at attaching the bank account of the capital city, just like they had attached the bank account of Mfuleni municipality. How does Tshwane go about its financial woes at this point in time and its failure to pay the power utility Eskom?
It's very concerning. I think in general, there's 2 sides of it. Obviously, this doesn't happen overnight, so it's accumulated debt over time. And but I think, big ups to Eskom and even your water utilities, Rand Water and so on, to start taking a step against municipalities, because I think for far too long municipalities knew that they cannot be held to account. So if we don't do our job or we use the money elsewhere, the national government must intervene on bail us out. And municipalities cannot legislatively be bailed out. So I think that's a good stance from Eskom. I think one has to be reasonable as well. You cannot just go and attach assets on the city or any municipality. What are they going to start selling the roads one of these days? So what I want to highlight in the next step is that our indigent registers and equitable share and treasury grants, we see a lot of these grants not being used and then paid back to treasury, so they lose that in your capital grants. But also the equitable share. The equitable share is supposed to cover free basic services. And show me one municipality that has a proper, accurate indigent register to ensure that those that monies are intended to serve actually go to them. And I'm highlighting that because I think there's a lot on the debt ratio that is aligned with people who are forced into illegal service usage because they're not subsidized correctly. So, but yet, if your controls aren't in place and you don't practice proper financial management, when a municipality starts getting unsustainable, we're in a big problem, and that's what we're facing right now.
In short, when you look at the capital city of Tshwane, you've seen the comments by the former Mayor Randall Williams. You look at the financial situation of the city. Where does the future of the city look like, looking at the current political wranglings that are there, Action SA versus the Democratic Alliance, the racial undertones that have been purported and blown out of the lid by Randall Williams against Mr. Silas Brink, the former executive mayor of the city of Tshwane, leading a particular white segment of the city?
Yeah, look, it's always interesting how the political influencers start, getting desperate and using everything in their power to take on individuals. I don't think we need to get into that. I think the listeners and the viewers need to really be mindful and take some notes. The local elections are around the corner. We need to choose competent leaders. We need to demand professionalization of the public service, and we need to get better organized so that we can start influencing and having the oversight in our municipalities. I think for far too long, we've actually relied on voting for someone that speaks well. And we've got a good track record in South Africa, seeing that promises aren't necessarily fulfilled. So I think it's time for us to step up and turn up the pressure on the political heads, but also start asking for local government reform. I do believe that there's a future of public-private partnerships. The Department of Water and Sanitation, as an example, when it comes to the water, is playing quite a big role in reforming legislation to ensure that municipalities can be held to account for something like pollution, like with Rooiwal, but also to start forcing the ring fencing of tariffs and revenue to fulfill those services, because currently we see money being spent on a lot of things except for the service that it's intended to.
Thank you very much for your time. That is a local government expert, Bongiwe, from Outer. Very interesting, particularly looking at the capital city, Tshwane. Number of scandals within that city, financial mismanagement that is there, tender irregularities that is there. One that just comes to the fore is the waste collection tender that was currently out on tender. Some of the officials within the city had to get bodyguards because of the threats that were there within that particular contract, to go to the water tankers contract that was servicing people with water in an area like Hammanskraal. And that just shows you, Bongiwe, the systemic problem of corruption within the capital city of Tshwane. Bongiwe.
Let's take a look at this particular slide that you have now and really just try to speak to the viewers about the city's budget. How much is it?
Looking at the city's budget for this particular financial year, 2024-2025, the operating budget of the capital city, Tshwane, is 48.5 billion rands for 2024-2025. Going in towards 2025-2026, it is 55.2 billion rands. That is the operating budget of the capital city. Then the operating expenditure, Bongiwe, between 2024-2025 financial year was 48.3 billion rands. Then the operating budget for 2025-2026 is going to be 55 billion rands. That is for the capital city. The surplus that the municipality spoke about that they had in the bank balance in these previous years, it is about 155.5 million rands in the 2024-2025 financial year. Then the capital budget, 2024-2025, 22.3 billion rands. 2025-2026, 2.4 billion rands. 2026-2027, 2.6 billion rands. That is the capital budget, Bongiwe, of the city of Tshwane, that is said to be in financial ruins and in disarray. Then you look at an interesting point that is going to court. City of Tshwane's Eskom debt breakdown. 2022, this is a contested figure at this point in time. It rose from about 893,000 rands going to about 1.5 Bongiwe. That is what is overdue, the amount to Eskom, 1.5 million rands. 2023 financial year, 2 million Bongiwe overdue over this particular period. What is overdue in 2023? is 1 million rands from the city to Eskom. 2024, Bongiwe, what is overdue is 3.1, I'm rounding it off, million rands to the power utility. Then you look at the total debt that that City of Tshwane has to the power utility. That is 7.5 billion rands, and that is of the 31st of August 2024. An interesting point, the City of Tshwane was able to pay on time to Eskom up until 2021. That is when the financial problems started, where they could not pay their debt to the power utility on time. At this point in time, Eskom is taking the City of Tshwane to court, and which is an amount that is overdue, which is 5.2 billion rands. And if the power utility gets granted that court interdict, they will be able to attach the bank accounts of the City of Tshwane like it happened with Mfuleni. I've seen a number of political players saying that Mfuleni's bank accounts have been attached by the power utility in courts. You've seen the MMC of Finance there trying to resolve this particular problem. Then you've got this issue of the capital city of Tshwane. I spoke to a number of political players on the political aspect of the governance of the City of Tshwane. One political leader from the ANC, who is purported and said to be in the media domain, that he wants the capital city to be in the hands of the ANC-led coalition. He says, no, it is a poisoned chalice to take the capital city. So the ANC does not want the capital city. They are saying it's a poison chalice, hence they are willing to give it to Action SA because of the financial debt, the mismanagement, the Eskom debt that is there, and also the corruption that is plaguing that particular capital city. The DA is scrambling to keep that particular city. Just this afternoon, at about 1 in the afternoon, Action SA had a meeting with the ANC at Luthuli House. Herman Mashaba was meeting with the ANC to discuss this very same issue of the capital city that is in ruins. And that will just tell you the political battles over who will lead the capital city come that particular council sitting to elect a new mayor. Bongiwe.
An interesting road ahead, Samgele. The city's service delivery budget implementation plan indicated that only 57% of targets were met. Furthermore, according to the city's annual report, only 21% of pothole complaints, 45% of water complaints and 38% of electricity complaints are resolved within the standard response times, raising concerns about the city's commitment to efficient service delivery. That's how we wrap up Explain and Verify.